at Buff and Lynn and welcoming committee. I somehow managed to lose my notes while sitting in that little chair. I'm still not sure how, but that's all right. I am used to this. Yeah, so obviously you're probably aware that now is a pretty strange time for trans people to be celebrating visibility. It is a frightening time to be visible. Most of us are actually kind of trying to duck a little bit of that visibility legally while still really embodying it in our community. And that's a difficult line to tread. I'm actually going to set this here so I don't lose track of time and take up Christopher's time. So, yeah, you may or may not be aware that, oh, there we go, that there are now 4 states in this union that have do not travel warnings for trans people, places where you can be arrested just for being trans in public and either using the bathroom or being seen as performing. So it's a strange time, and I just want to kind of acknowledge that elephant right up front. But, you know, we're still here, we'll always be here. And so my relationship to gender is, you know, something I came to pretty early in life. One of my very earliest memories that I've really held on to for a long time is sitting on my parents' bed with all of my siblings, all of my siblings at the time, and my parents and my father reading the Bible, and me having just this utmost clarity that I was not a woman, and kind of just stopping there, like just pure clarity, like, oh, that's not me. And then, as you can probably guess, a household where all of the children and the parents sit on the parents' bed and read the Bible every night is not the kind of household where you can say, I don't think I am the gender that you think I am. I just kind of like set that aside for several years. And it came back to me when I was probably 11 or 12, living with my grandparents. And then it just kind of wouldn't go away. And I thought, all right, well, I don't know what this is. I know I'm not a woman, but I don't quite know what to do with that. So I'm going to try. I'm really going to try. And I was lucky enough to have, you know, aunties, 3 wonderful aunties who were just wonderful women, you know, strong and independent, but also loving, and they were all wonderful women, and I tried very hard to model myself on them, which was great in a way. You know, I didn't have to do. They were very, you know, you don't have to have long hair and wear dresses. You can be a woman all these other ways, and that was important for me at the time. But the harder I tried to be a woman, the harder it got, and the less good at it I was. It is very, very difficult for me to pass as a woman, and it always has been. As I got older, I was, you know, 17, 18, had a job, a retail job, but one where had a lot of physicality to it. I was moving a lot of heavy bags of animal feed. And so, you know, I cut my hair almost as soon as I had the money to do so, and got served young man pretty regularly, and always had this moment of just sheer joy and euphoria. At the same time, this moment of fear that I was getting caught, that I was getting away with something, and I was going to get caught. And at that point, it was just harder and harder to ignore for me. And I just kind of, I had known this from pretty early. And at this point, I just kind of knew I couldn't do anything about it at the place that I was, but I wasn't going to let go of it. And so when I got a chance, I moved away and stopped trying to be anything at all, and just was myself and was a man. I will say something that was really frustrating to me. Like I said, always had a moment of real joy when I was being a man, being recognized as a man. I think the only times when that wasn't the case was when I would sometimes in my teen years have these moments, these periods where I would really try, no, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna be a woman. And the harder I tried, the more likely it was for people to call me sir in a way that did not have any joy attached at all. It's a very strange thing for someone to see you clearly trying to show up as a woman, and this expression of real anger comes into their face, and they say, "Sir." And it's something that my transgender sisters live with every day. Again, it's not exactly an easy time to be trans in this country, particularly if you are a person of color, particularly if you are Black. In many ways, I am playing this game on the easy mode, being a young-ish white man. But so I went through my life, being a man and enjoying being a man. And I, got lucky. I met wonderful people like Lynn, who I could talk to and who could talk to me and who saw me for who I was and never really had any questions about it. I had wonderful people in my life of all different places. The reason I vanished like mist on the lake is because I am not a churchgoer. I am not the kind of person who goes to church. For quite some time, I was an Episcopalian and was lucky enough to have a priest who saw me for who I was and accepted me for who I was and was just a wonderful person. And I'm lucky now. My closest friend in the world is a cisgender man and his wonderful wife. And he's cis, he's straight, he's just the most, on the surface, on paper in black and white, the most straight-laced person you can imagine. And he's also one of the most accepting people I've ever met. And this is something that I really want to open the doors for everyone, because the thing about gender is that it comes from within. It really does. It's something you feel in your soul, and it is also a conversation between the individual and the community. It is. It's the thing that you are, the role that you take on in society, and that's really important. But another thing I want to stress, and this is why my dear friend Mark is so very comfortable and confident and accepting, is because he sat down for years and thought about what made him a man and what made him happy in being a man. And his wife is the same way, and my closest friends are all the same way. And so I want to just kind of open those doors to everyone. Gender, for all of you, for all of us, is not a burden you have to bear. It doesn't have to be a burden that you bear. It is something that you can take joy in. And so I want to invite all of you to think and to think about those moments where you feel real joy in being a woman, or real joy in being a man, not just being human and being alive and the sunshine and the grass and all the things that we all love, but the particular ways in which you and this world and society and community that you live in are having this conversation, and it brings you joy. Something that really makes you feel yourself and your strength or your identity in a way that makes you happy. That's open to all of us, and this is, I think, to some extent, a gift that our community can give. So I did kind of want to just open those doors. Trans joy is important, but everyone can feel joy in their identity, and feeling that joy, I think, will also make it easier for you to maybe understand and see the world that we see, because this is something that all trans people I know sort of have to learn, is this joy. Gender doesn't have to be a burden. You have agency. You can feel that joy. That really matters. Again, without my notes, I don't remember where I was going to wrap up. I'm pretty sure that was it, though. Yeah, thank you all so much for having me again.
You made it possible for me to ignore the first little bits of my speech where I was going to have to protest my utter lack of qualification to talk about any of this. So, thank you. Now I have to go find my notes, which had decided to. Oh, why are you doing this to me? Did you remember it? Yes. Oh, well then, hell yeah, come on back up. You don't have to get down. Please. Oh no, I'm just moving out of the way.
The very last thing I was going to say, and I can say it in about 30 seconds, is that first thing I brought up, those laws, this joy is part of why they will never work. We have always been here. As a historian, I can tell you we have always been here. We will always be here, and we will always have this joy. And again, so can you. Thank you so much, Christopher.
Thank you. Yay. Okay, let's try this again. This is relatively new technology to me, so, oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, unlock. Hey, there's my talk. Huzzah. Okay. So, yes, thank you very much for making it so I don't have to flail about and proclaim my utter lack of qualification. But anyway, and thank you all for being here and for making the mistake of once again giving me the microphone. I want to reflect on a long conversation I had with one of the people who was thinking about being a speaker at this service, somebody who I hope now is a new friend. I will not be able to quote their words verbatim because it was a long and amazing conversation and I was in the moment rather than taking notes. But the story they wove with me goes something like this. When they first encountered the idea of joy and liberation regarding their genderqueer nature, they were unimpressed. The models they had for what coming out as trans or genderqueer at that point were either caricatures or tragedies, nothing in between. Coming out felt like a death sentence. These are more or less their words, not mine. The idea of joy in that world felt like a travesty, escapism in the worst sense. The invisibility of people like this person left them alone, with nothing to lean on. What joy? What joy could I possibly be talking about? But times got better for some people in some places, and the culture shifted a little for a while to allow more visions of people who were trans, yes, and also fully people, not caricatures. This in turn brought some people who had been too frightened before to make themselves visible, which meant more people, particularly children, who might not have had words for what they were going through, could see that there were people like them and that they weren't alone. Now the walls are closing in again, and that's not okay. People once visible are now hiding once more, and just as the effects of increased visibility compound so that those who never knew they weren't alone can't find that out now, or could find that out. Now the effects of the pressure to hide, the fear of violence, and the threat of state-sanctioned exclusion are driving people back underground. What effects will this have on the children and young adults of our age who don't know a better moment? We talked then about joy, the joy of resistance and visibility. We talked about how joy and anger can coexist, can in fact feed one another. I do not mean the anger of the nihilist striking out randomly because nothing matters, but the sacred flame of rage that warms the heart, that calls people together to fight injustice and cruelty. In the words of the Indigo Girls from the song Keeper of My Heart and Amy Ray, I'm sorry now. Here is my love and anger. You see now, these are my gods. These are my scars. Here is my love and anger. Well, these arms are burning, but they're open wide. I am not Amy Ray, but those words mean something. I wanted to talk today of celebration, of unbounded joy. I wanted to bring you the other side of life from caricature and tragedy. And it's out there, my kindred. It's out there where trans people meet and know one another as fully human and fully divine, if that's their spiritual inclination. It's out there in the chance meetings between cisgender people of good heart and curious mind with genderqueer people of all sorts. People who see the beauty inherent in the freedom to fully inhabit a body and make it one's own if needs be. It's out there in the quiet work of organizing and the loud work of speaking out. We are a welcoming community here that finds divinity in the souls of all who enter through our doors. And yet, I wonder if we give enough thought to the truly radical nature of that word welcome. I want to pull on your sleeve about this for a moment, if I may. Welcoming or hospitality is an ancient concept that demands a lot more of a host than simply making room for the stranger and not doing violence to them. The ancient hosts of many cultures took on obligations when they extended hospitality. You would feed and, if needs be, clothe the stranger with the best you could. You would tend their wounds. You would eagerly hear their stories and share your own. You would, at the last need, put your body between them and an enemy bent on violence. For in taking them in, you gave your protection at risk of your own life. Look around you, both in this room now and later out in the world. Are there faces you do not know? Are there people who might be in need of nourishment, either spiritual or physical? Are you willing to feed them? Are there people who are wounded? Yes, there are. Are you willing to offer them succor of the heart or of the body? Are there people who have stories to share? Yes, there are. We've just heard one. Are there people who could benefit from your story? Are you willing to exchange stories with them? Are there people in danger? Yes, there are. Will you put your bodies between them and that danger because they have come here? Don't answer quickly or lightly. This is sacred space we inhabit. Whether you worship one God, many gods, or no God, it is sacred space because we will it so and fill it with our intention. Words spoken here matter. They resound from here to the ends of the universe. So do not lightly take upon you this ancient and holy obligation. But if you do take it on, you'll find Crystal and me standing here to take your hand so that you know you are not alone and so that we can make a place together where no one need fear at whatever cost to ourselves. Thank you. All blessings of joy and love be upon you, my kindred. And now will you join me in a breath, breathing in resolve, breathing out peace. As we continue breathing in resolve and out peace, I will finish with the words of the Beatitudes for a Queer Church, as written by J. Holme. I think that's how it's pronounced. Blessed are the outcasts, the ostracized, the outsiders. Blessed are the scared, the scarred, the silent. Blessed are the broken, for they are not broken. Blessed are the hated, for they are not worthy of hate. Blessed are those who try, those who transform, who transition. Blessed are the closeted. The Spirit of life sees you shine anyway. Blessed are the queers who love creation enough to live the truth of it, despite a world that tells them they cannot. And blessed are those who believe themselves unworthy of blessing. What inconceivable wonders you hold. Amen. Aho. Whatever word closes a prayer for you. Are we to the last hymn? If stand as you are able and join us in How Could Anyone? And please do sing, because I'm not sure I'll get through this. So. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? Could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. One more time. How would anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? Could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
So for the extinguishing of the chalice, look at the flame here in this chalice. It's time to extinguish this manifestation of it, but we're charged to carry the meaning of this flame forward in our hearts. As a reminder of joy and the warmth of community, and of the work that we must do to make this world the one we live in right now, the world of our intentions, our hopes, and our dreams.
Now we're going to do our closing benediction. If you want to circle up.
Hey, that was terrific. Thank you. We'll do it again. Fantastic. Fantastic.